Hey everyone, this is Andy from GamesRound and we're back again live. Andrei, can you hear me okay?
I'm sorry, I'm having audio issues. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, we're live. So this is Andrei from Mountain View and Andy from Moscow. I apologize right away that we can have a short breaks in our internet connection. So I guess it's not the perfect connection for Andrei Dubinin from MY.GAMES. I guess he may have problems, but he will reconnect. And let me share with you today's agenda. So we're going to go through a presentation. Andrei is going to present how to create a team on hyper casual, what should be the relationships with the publisher, how to approach those relationships with publisher, how to find a publisher. And please guys, feel free to ask any questions. We've got links in Dory, you can find it below. And you can also ask your questions on the platform which you're using to watch this stream, YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope. After the presentation, Andrei will review live several prototypes which you guys submitted. We've got quite a bit of prototypes. I guess it's more than 30 or something. I mean, like more than that. We will not be able to cover all of them, but Andrei will leave his comments and he'll be able to answer your questions after that if you have those comments. Let me introduce Andrei first of all. Then Andrei Dubinin is the head of hyper-casual arm at My.GAMES, and My.GAMES is one of the leading publishers in the world actually, in Eastern Europe. But I will leave it to Andrei to introduce better what My.GAMES is right now and what are the plans. Before I do that, I will tell a couple of words about GamesRound. As you guys know, GamesRound is a platform where game developers meet publishers and investors. This is a dedicated place where you can specifically find publisher or investor. There's no need to travel to events anymore because especially now we have all those events either online or canceled. But now there's no need to pay, for example, traveling here to San Francisco sometimes takes like thousands of dollars. There's no need to do that now. On the platform, you can meet more than 65 publishers and investors. Not only like from any country, almost from any country. If you're interested in China, we've got a bunch of Chinese publishers and the number is growing, right? We've got American publishers, PC, mobile, console publishers. Make sure you create a great profile. I think that we will have to create a separate stream about that, how to create a great profile, because this is the key. So the way how you present yourself on our platform is the key to be noticed by publishers. We've got teams who received 7 inquiries from publishers by just having a great profile. So publishers are here, they're very active, and they are looking for new games, and which is more important for new teams. So Andrei, I guess on this point, handing it over to you. So please make sure, please feel free to introduce yourself and start the presentation. I don't think we hear you though. No, we don't hear you. No. We can try reading your lips. One second, guys. Andrei is reconnecting. That happens. Okay. Yeah, now it's better. We can hear you now. Awesome.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you for having me, Andrei.
Sure,
I'm Andrei
welcome.
from My.GAMES, and I'll be your host for today's show, I guess. So I'm from My.GAMES, and My.GAMES game for basically quite a big team of 30 plus studios, and we publish all kinds of games worldwide. Not only publish but also create invest in games and help publish games, etc., etc. Our key focus recently has been on mobile titles and all kinds of mobile free-to-play, including hyper-casual. But we also do console and desktop and all kinds of games. So, yeah, there are basically some bits that we would cover today. I want to do a relatively short intro presentation on the importance of teams. And we very, very strongly believe that a lot of it is about not just what kind of game you're trying to make, but who is making these games, the decisions they're taking, what they're doing today, and what they'll be doing in 5 to 10 years' time. Because we've been around for a while, for over 20 years, and we intend on sticking around for quite a while yet. So I'm going to share my screen, and I will need Andrei to confirm that the screen sharing is doing its magic. Is it?
Sounds good. Yep. We're ready.
Cool. Yep. Can you see the deck?
We can.
Awesome. Awesome. So here you are. Here's the MY.GAMES logo. In case you've not seen it before, you will be seeing it in the future, definitely. MY.GAMES, again, we have 30 plus teams in-house and teams that we invest in. By teams we mean studios of all shapes and sizes, tens of people, some of them hundreds. All in all, it's 1,800 plus others that have published over 150.
Andrei, I think that we lost you. We cannot hear you. Andrei? Andrei, we lost you. We cannot hear you. Andrei? Sorry guys, I will connect with Andrei right now. Andrei, can you hear me? Can hear, yes. I cannot hear. This is the downside, guys, of the online events, unfortunately. So not always the technique works as good as expected. So let me see what's going on right now, and let me connect with Andrei as well. Again, sorry guys for this technical issue. We're trying to solve that, okay? Andrei, we cannot hear you, Andrei. We cannot hear you. Okay. I guess he will reconnect and he will start. You have to start all over again from this second slide. Bear with us, guys. Yeah, now it's better. We couldn't hear you right from the next slide after you presented my game. So the second slide, starting from second slide, could you please repeat that again?
All right. So what I suggest you do is, how about I send you the deck, and that way we can kind of work together on it, and at least I'll see the point where where my connection dies. I think I've already sent it to Messenger. All right, cool.
Yep. Give me a moment again.
Mm-hmm.
Present my screen. Okay, can you hear now? Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Andrei?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You hear me? All right, okay, I'll kill my video for the meanwhile, and I'll just ask you to act as a clicker. All right, okay, so we're here. So MY.GAMES, again, we are a family of 30 plus teams, 30 plus studios that develop all kinds of games, mobile games mostly, but console as well. Some of the bigger titles you might have heard of are War Robots and Hustle Castle. We did quite a cool new title for Switch under our Warface franchise. And these 30 plus teams actually consist of 1,800 plus team members, so there's quite a few of us. And our portfolio consists of 150 games. So I wanted to talk to you today about why it's so important to think in terms of teams rather than just games, because without the developers and the artists and the game designers, these things do not exist at all. I was thinking that it would be cool to discuss why it's so such a great opportunity to create.
Andrei, we can hear you.
Can we go to the next slide, please?
Okay, now we can, yeah. Andrei?
Can you not hear me again?
Yeah, we can.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, okay, cool. So just for the sake of clearing up the terminology, hyper-casual stems from casual, which meant accessible, and hyper-casual means ultra-accessible for everyone to anyone, including billions of players around the world, millions and millions of developers around the world, because these games are very tricky in terms of finding the right idea.
Andrei? Andrei? Please move on.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, so again, just repeating myself, really apologies for the tech issues. So hyper casual means super accessible for everyone, players and developers, because not as much effort is required per single attempt at making a game. Am I back? I'm sorry, it keeps cutting out. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, okay, cool. So can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, Andrei, you're back again.
So yeah, the big question is, why is hyper casual one of the best places to start? Next. Well, because in hyper casual, the great games are built not just by great teams, but by small teams, and this is super important. When you're starting something, you want to start small when you're first trying out. You get to learn pretty fast because you're essentially making one game or one vertical slice of a game, one prototype of a game, call it what you will, once every 2 weeks. You're saving yourself quite a bit of time, again, because you're learning fast and because you're working at such a fast pace. You're saving money because your team is not huge, and hopefully, if done right, if you're well disciplined and if you know why you're doing it well,
Andrei, you're back. Let me share my screen again, okay? Yep.
all right, okay.
Let's go ahead.
Cool. Unfortunately, I can see you, but I can't see the presentation.
Oh, okay, got it. Yep.
All right. Okay. Cool. Next slide, please. Hopefully, yeah, you get to make a bit of money if everything is done right and according to what you learn and according to the best market practices. So I like this slide. If you compare mobile free-to-play, a regular casual title, or a mid-core title, it usually takes about 1 year to hatch something, and it's a pretty big effort. Next slide, please. And if you compare that to hyper casual, within the same 1 year, you get to make, even for a small team, you can make up to 25 attempts per year. So if you compare that to mobile free-to-play, you need a much bigger team, and there's a much higher chance. It's much more difficult to succeed because the stakes are much higher. Whereas in hyper casual, you can make many attempts, will come to life, and hopefully one of them will hatch and will bring you money, especially if you find the right partners, both for your team and the right publishing partner. So how do you do this? I mean, you could join a team. There are so many out there. And yeah, the second one is, it's a joke and it isn't. You could buy a team. There are lots of teams looking for investments, and you can use GamesRound as a platform to talk not to just publishers but to investors. For example, at My.GAMES, we have an investment arm called MY.GAMES that invests in teams, and that's another way of building a great team. But the one I like best is the next option, which is basically creating a team, because you're doing something from scratch. You can control the ideation process. You can use your own creativity, or whichever skill you're best at. And it's when you have a clean slate. It's you always have more options, both in terms of building a team and talking to the right partners on the market, including publishers. So, I mean, what now? You have to understand what you're really good at. Some of you will be amazing game designers, and others will be great at game architecture, or thinking about how to produce a multitude of these games, not just one, but how to do it quickly, how to do many of them, about reusing things. Some of you will be great creators and great at coming up with ideas, but you just have to understand what you're really good at. And guess what the next slide will be? You have to find someone who's great at the things you don't get. So there will be some things that you do not enjoy, and you shouldn't do is spend too much of your time on those things. It's always great to learn, but if you understand that you're great at an art, for example, the person that you have to find to team up with is ideally someone who does code really well. What you want to do is you want to sit down for a weekend, not too much time, any place you like, and just try and make 3 games. It might sound insane, but it's what you need to do, because in most cases, game 1, you're gonna be like, what are we doing here? And you're going to learn a lot. By game 2, you'll have a pretty cool idea that doesn't seem feasible. Game 3 is likely to be something that is actually playable and something you can show to whomever you wish. And the important thing to remember is on the next bit of this slide, which is that videos of the gameplay are enough to talk to people. What you want to see is their initial reaction. You show them the game, and depending on how they react to that game, you can decide for yourself whether or not to follow through with this specific idea. If not, you could chuck it, because you've just built 3 games in a weekend, or the essences of those games in a single weekend, and you've not wasted 6 or 8 or 12 months of your precious time, working after work or on weekends or whatever. Since you have these videos, or at least this is the best time to talk to a publisher, the absolute best time. Some of you might be more seasoned developers, and you might do your own releases and your own testing, and your own metrics and everything, and that's also great. But if you're building a team from scratch, you want to get feedback from someone who will make that game happen globally, who will be able to scale it. And when you are looking for a publisher, you have to really consider the one that is right for your team. Because one of the questions I like to ask my teams is, if you had the exact same financial offerings from all of the publishers, who would be the one that you choose? And the the important part of the question is in the who, because it's always a person on the other end of the line, and you have to basically understand whether it how good the communication is. Is it seamless? Is it interesting to talk to that person? Are you getting feedback which is not only insightful but also actionable? So you know, and we're all humans, and not everyone will be perfect for everyone, but it's really important to take a moment and find a publisher that is right for your specific team. And the things that you really want to look for if you're starting small, if you're beginning to build a team, is you want to find someone who will provide support throughout the entire process of making a game. You might have an idea that you've just scribbled down on paper, or you might have a really rough playable prototype on primitives, and you want someone who will be quick to assess your work, to give you actionable feedback, and have the potential and the right background to take that game, to introduce that game to the world and publish it globally. Get you lots of installs. So yeah, the things that you want to get from a publisher are idea feedback. You want to understand whether it's worthwhile or not, and the way to get that feedback is to focus on the super important bits to put together in either a video or a playable, and do some early testing. And this is what MY.GAMES provides. Then we used to say that we provide up to 50,000 US dollars per game development, and I just want to be super transparent about this. These are performance payments, and depending on how well your game does, you can get from 5 to 50,000 per game, depending on the stage you manage to reach and how good your metrics are. But I mean, if you've spent a little bit of your time on a simple build and got 5K, gotten 5K for it, I mean, it's also it's something. It's not like you're spending your time on nothing. It compensates your time, and it also gives you new learnings for your future work. And we strongly believe that it's important to establish partnerships early. So we try to provide as much profits to developers as we can, for much as is feasible. So we offer 60% profit sharing after the game goes globally. So this is the point where we have tens of millions of installs, and every one of those installs is generating some profit. 60% of that goes to the developers that we work with. I'm always asked, I mean, how much do we pay out? What do we mean by 50K per project? So we have several testing stages. There are 4, and each of these testing stages has KPIs, and if you reach those KPIs, you get payments. CPI, which is the cost per install testing stage, where we try to understand how appealing the game is to a wide audience. Depending on how appealing it is, you can get a payment of 5 to 10,000 US dollars. Then if the game proceeds on to the next stage, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Andrei, do you have a KPI? Do you have a level for CPI on this stage? What CPI should be to get this money?
Oh, it's if it's at 40 cents and below, it's 5K. 30 cents and below, it's 7K, and 20 cents and below, it's 10K. Got it. All right. Then we're testing, and again, it's also important to understand that we can't just accept all kinds of CPI. So during CPI testing, we also try and measure day 1 retention and the median session length as well. If the game reaches KPI that I just mentioned, below 40 cents and north of 30% retention, or a promising median session length, then that's the point where we're happy to make the payout. Then from that point on, we continue to an optional retention test. By optional, we mean that we want you to make the best game possible, and we suggest reaching a KPI of 43+% day 1 and 12% day 7, which some teams can reach and some teams can't because they're just starting out, but they have a really, really promising idea. So we've made this step optional, and we always encourage teams to try and reach this metric because it's great. And if we get there, we pay out 10K to the teams. And from that, we move on to a return on investment test, ROI. And here again, you can make up from 10 to 30,000 US dollars for successfully reaching the KPIs. The reason why there's quite a gap between 10 and 30K is directly related to the optional retention test. So say you've not reached the metrics that we suggested for the retention test, but still have an ROI positive game, you'll get a little less money. And if you've done both, if you've successfully reached the retention metrics and also have solid ROI, then you get a payout as well. So I'd be happy to talk about it in more detail, but it's not the key agenda. And again, on top of that, we always get the 60% of the profits. Share 60% of the profits. So yeah, super quick example of the outcome. Going back to the egg slide, imagine we've worked well and in a disciplined manner for a year together, and we pulled off 25 prototypes, 2 weeks per prototype, plus Christmas time off and maybe 1 week during the summer, and most of these didn't come to life, which is all right because lots of mistakes are being made along the way, but some of these games made it at a stage. So here I'm showing that 2 games made it to CPI, through to the CPI stage. 2 of them got 5,000 for reaching CPI of 40 cents and below. One got 10,000 for reaching 20 cents and below. One of them managed to complete a CPI test and a retention test and got 17K in total. And one of them hatched and did well, and we're ready to scale. So, I mean, again, I'm not fooling anyone. It's very hard work. It's all about being super disciplined and making reasonable and sensible decisions together with your publishing partner. But if done right, on this example, we're seeing about 100K per year plus the profit share that we get from scaling the game. And again, these numbers can vary, but you get the general gist. But next slide, please. The more important, and this is cheesy, but I love it, I've seen so many people from all kinds of walks of life come together, specifically in hyper casual, because there are no limits. Most teams are distributed. It's really interesting to see the chemistry develop between people who just meet each other at game jams or in specific forums or subreddit pages or chat rooms, whatever. That you never know who it's going to be. Next slide. and it could be these three people, and it's really curious of who you'll end up working with in a year's time. So again, I'll be more than happy to talk to any of you. Thank you for listening in. These are all, I mean, you can feel free to screenshot my contacts. You can find me on most messengers at Andrei Dubinin, ANDREIDUBININ, or you can drop me a line on my using whatever means of communications you like. So, do we have any questions so far regarding the presentation bit?
Let's see what we've got so far. Andrei, thanks a lot for the presentation. That was amazing, despite the fact that we had some issues with the connectivity. But I guess, like, which is more important, that we got you here on the first place. Like, we are lucky to have you here, and I know that you're not in a place where it's easy with the connection, but luckily you're here with
Yeah,
us.
I'm on holiday.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah,
my
I'm
first
sorry. I'm sorry. Apologies for the lag in connection, but
It's okay.
it's really important that I get a chance to talk to you guys and take a look at new games.
Yeah, Andrei, I have a first question here. You mentioned that there's a team of three people on the slide, on the last slide. Is it literally enough, or the teams should be higher numbered or
It's
lower?
a really good question, but since making these games is all about speed and discipline and seamless communications, the more team members you have, the longer it takes to create anything. So if you have fewer team members, you save lots of time by talking less and doing more, because there are enough opinions to provide a spectrum of opinions, but at the same time you're not getting into fights. That's like from the interpersonal side of things, and if you're looking at it from a techier side, or a more of a development side, you're looking for someone who can be an ace at code. You're looking for someone who can handle all of the artwork, and neither of these two, in an ideal scenario, should be involved in game design and product decisions. They can, provide their input, but you want someone who can mediate this process. So I'm just, painting my ideal picture of the kind of team that I would like to personally build. But we work all kinds of teams. Some of them are one-man teams, and others, we've seen teams of up to 15 people, but they usually try and share responsibility as much as they can. So when setting up a team, it's really important to agree on what part of responsibility are you accepting.
Okay, thank you. And this was exactly the question from Adrian in our YouTube chat. So he asked more insights on the team creation. So we've got a question from Dory, the question which was posted several days ago, and the guy is asking, so you're funding up to 50K. The question is, do you really help the studio to succeed with the game, or you're just waiting for specific metrics from a game and you fund if only you see those metrics? Do you help teams which you partner with, and what is this level of partnership which you provide?
You should ask our studios.
What is
No,
it?
really. I mean, it depends. When you're working with lots of studios, you get lots of opinions. We are all for autonomy, because we see our main goal, and of course we're helping studios build their team in whichever way we can, but we have to be reasonable. We have to understand that some studios, are ready to receive more help, while others are still sort of on the way. So again, it really is a case by case thing. And but there are the kinds of publishers who are, trying to test as many projects as are available on the market. And the difference with us is that we are testing teams. We're not just testing projects. Projects are a way to find a mutual understanding. If we reach that kind of understanding, then we invest more.
Got it. Got it. Okay, there's another question. Thank you. There's another question, and I think that I can share it on screen. What legal internal issues the founder has to be aware of when building a remote team? Anything like contracts, NDA, etc. If you have anything like that in your experience.
It's a great question, and I think this would vary on depending on which publisher you work with. So I will give you our take on it. When we reach a point where we're ready to sign a publishing agreement, we either sign with a company that's been established for a while, or well, with a company that's about to be established. And in that case, we're signing with a specific person, and that person has to understand very clearly that it's their responsibility to be the sole, or the key point of communication with that team, and of course we'll be more than happy to provide certain suggestions. We can't force you into anything because it's your business, it's your team, but you can ask us, and it's more of a case by case thing.
Got it.
But
Got it.
we've seen all kinds of teams, and we try and handle their issues to the best of our ability. Because the one important thing to understand about a publisher is that while we're not responsible for your entire team, we're fully responsible for the project that we sign. There is so much that we can help you with, and autonomy is our big friend. But if you're having issues with something, we will be there to help.
Got it. There's another question related to that. I would say from our chat, Nikolai is asking how to find and this is a very common question.
Okay. All right. It's always
very,
if we're doing
common question.
if we're doing hyper casual, it's always best to try and find a publisher. First of all, you have to understand that there is a responsibility split. The publisher usually handles the marketing and the scaling of the game, whereas the developer handles the actual game, the product. And especially if you're working alone, you really can't afford to think about everything. You have to focus. Focus is key. I've seen some teams who've been able to produce a successful hyper-casual game and scale it themselves, but very, very, very few. And they have had vast previous experience in relevant fields, in game development and advertising, digital marketing, etc., etc. So if you're a solo indie dev, at least go out and talk to a few people and see who you like more and who offers the best package.
I see. So basically, the answer is reach out to a publisher as soon as possible. But first, you have to have something in hand, right? So you have to have a kind of a prototype or a game in hand.
Ideally, yes, you can. I think it's nice if you approach someone with a few videos and an understanding of why you created this specific game, because you have to understand that publishers work with lots and lots of developers, and they're looking to meet someone who shares their values and someone who's unique in one way or another. So if you can do that, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the publishers will at least hear you out and provide you with some actionable feedback. So if I were you, I'd just put together a list of the people that or the companies that I'd like to work with, and just work through it in reverse order.
Got it. Hey guys, there's a ton of other questions. I don't think we'll be able to take all of them. Let's take the last one, and we will jump to even more exciting part, which is prototype review, because we've got a huge list of prototypes to be reviewed, and Andrei's here to do it live so that you guys see how a publisher, the publisher in our case, reviews the game, makes comments, and hopefully you will learn from that. The last question here, and we'll jump to prototype reviews. How far does art or UI reflect on installing the hyper-casual game? My understanding is that as opposed to videos. So shall you prepare art or UI like
Okay,
still?
the game idea is key. If you have a weak game idea with amazing artwork and amazing UI, imagine you have this game about a bird that is flapping its way through the screen, and there are pipes from Mario, and has the most amazing art, and it has the most amazing UI. What do you think the response of the market will be? So again, it's all about the game idea, not so much about the art and the UI. They become important as the development cycle progresses.
Got it. Awesome, Andre. Thanks for the quick answer on that. So we're jumping to prototype review, guys. I know we've got not a lot of time, but let's see what we can do within this time. So I'm sharing my screen again, and Andre, let's begin with this amazing or not so amazing game.
Do we have any chat participants? Is anyone actually posting anything to the chat?
Yeah, we've got chat, and it's I don't think if you can see that.
Because what I'd love to do is I'd love to get the viewers' take on the prototypes. I'd love to see, sort of do a 10-point grading system where you sort of give the game a couple of points, and if you can understand what the gameplay is, another sort of 2 points, and whether you've seen something like this before. So it's all about accessibility and originality and production value, and it would be quite interesting.
That is amazing. Why don't we do the following? So you will review the game, and the
Uh-huh.
viewers will give their scores as well in the
Awesome.
chat.
Yep.
Do you guys think it's possible? So we will review the game, and you guys please give your scores as well. Okay. So
It can be a bit brutal to the developers, but it's honest, and you'll see a very quick reaction from the market without just relying on the opinion of a sole publisher.
okay, let's
Master, all right, cool. So it's more or less like a boomerang mechanic. The gameplay is pretty straightforward, which is a good thing. I understand the gameplay and the controls, but I do not understand the reason why I am playing this. So I'm just hitting targets. So I quite like the production value. I've tested a few games like this. So the question I would suggest to the team is, what is my play motivation? What do I show in the video? I mean, am I just hitting targets, or why am I killing civilians? So maybe they ought to think about setting a game setting that speaks directly to the player and explains why is it that we're specifically throwing is it a boomerang? Now it's an axe. And another interesting thing to think about is, what will level 1000 look like in this game? Because one of the key issues that I'm seeing is repetitiveness. Cool. What do you guys rate this game at? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, guys, please feel free to put your scores from 1 to 10 in the chat, and we will review that after that. Okay, so cool. let's. Oh, we can actually take a look at this real quick. 6. Okay, 6 red dancing man. 6 out of 10. Good. Okay. Okay, let's continue with this with the next one. Andrei, word to you.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 is yeah, 6 or 7. That's what I think.
Can you see the next prototype? It's on my screen right now. Andrei, I think we lost you. Andrei, we cannot hear you. Andrei, can you guys see me? I think we lost Andrei for a second. For 4 cups of coffee. Let's wait for a second for Andrei to join. He'll be here in a second, okay? Yeah, we got it back.
Yep.
Let's start all over again with the second prototype, Barista Master.
This looks absolutely gorgeous. And I understand from the get-go what I'm doing. I'm playing Barista. I can see from the UI at the top that I have 5 stages ahead of me. Really, really impressed by the graphics. On each stage, I understand, again, by the progress bar, what I'm looking to do. And here I have, again, the craft genre is quite big. And I love the fact that there's a number of in this game. So there's definitely room for variety. It's not all just grind. And I pretty much understand the meta gameplay. I'm getting customers that I have to serve. Not sure about Frankenstein, but hey, Halloween is not too far away from us. Might work there. I can see that there is a huge collection meta. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this must have been built by a very seasoned team. I think anyone who starts off with hyper casual might be able to pull something like this off. I mean, if you've never done hyper casual before, but you have some experience and you find the right partner, you can probably get there in about 1 year or 2. So yeah, I love this. I shouldn't be biased, but I am. One of the key things to consider is, what do we test when we test it as a video? Which part of the game do we show, and how do we best show it?
Okay.
But I think these guys pretty much know what they're doing. Opinions? How do you score it?
Guys, how do you score it? Your score is over here, 6. We got here in the chat as well. All right, let's move to the next one. 8 out of 10. Okay.
8 out of 10.
Andrei, your score?
I'd give it a solid 9. I think it's looks really promising.
Okay, let's
Slime Love.
Slime Love. Let's look at the next game.
This reminds me of something.
Let me skip
All right.
this for a second.
The interface looks a bit old school. So it's a platformer. I understand that I think I need to reach either the platform or the key, but but I don't quite fully understand what I'm doing here. I can jump. Can I double jump? So one of the important things to keep in mind is, can you sort of go back a bit, rewind a bit, because I didn't actually see what
okay. Yeah. Okay.
what happened.
Okay.
All right, so he jumps on the platform, gets the key, and he jumps on the platform again and into the portal.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So this is not a hyper casual game. This is a hardcore game because it's not really rewarding whatever I'm doing. It's not telling me what my progress is like. It's punitive in that, you know, I can get killed. It could be more original because there are many platformers out there, and when you're making or remaking a classic mechanic that you're showing to the world, you have to think of a way to be unique. What is it about the platformer that you want to show? If it's, you know, and why the setting? Why the slime? I can see there are sort of little particles coming off of it when it lands on something, but I don't quite understand when it happens. So if we just sort of go to Andrei's unofficial grading system, I understand the gameplay. I've seen this kind of gameplay 100 times. I don't believe that everyone could play this game because it's, you know, there's lots of time pressure. It looks like it was built for a seasoned player, so grandma couldn't play it, and, you know, your little brother, your little preschool brother or sister might not feel comfortable with this game. Plus, it also kind of looks a lot like kind of childish. It looks like a game that was targeted for a younger audience rather than for everyone. And this is, you know, it's really important to what's important to think about when you're doing hyper casual is, am I targeting wide enough? Will my game be accepted by the widest possible audience? Sometimes there will be sort of decisions that you have to, some decisions that you'll have to make. Like, okay, I can't build a game for everyone, but I know how to build a great shooting game for a male audience to enjoy, because, you know, I've done that kind of game before. And if you make that decision, all right, you might not be able to get the entire market, but then you have to think, will this game be played by the male audience of all ages? Because you want to reach as many people as possible. So three harsh, but kind of true. Yes.
Okay. Your scores, guys? 3 slimes again here. Yeah. 5 out of 10. Okay, let's go next. We've got Kicker. Kicker. Andrei, so this is the next game. Can you see my screen?
All right. This is super raw and not in the best way possible. It's not really like a game. It's more like a tech demo, because I don't really understand how to lose in this game. There's no clear goal setting, no clear progression. I don't understand what the control mechanic is like. Do I flick? Do I tap? So, and again, even though there have been, I can remember 2 or 3 interesting soccer titles in the hyper-casual space. All of them have been about progression. So you're not just kicking the ball into the goal to get more goals. You're doing it to do something, and you're always presented with interesting obstacles and interesting new mechanics. So again, I think this is a tech demo, and the best thing that this developer could do is ask themselves the question, how will I make this soccer/football game unique?
Okay. Your scores, guys. 2 out of 10. Any other scores?
I don't think we should score this one because because it's more of a tech demo rather than a game. Okay, this brings me to one of my sort of next points. When making a game, make sure that you can show a developing scenario within the first 15 seconds of gameplay. So show a goal that can be achieved and present the mechanic as a means to achieve that goal. So say, for example, we're about to watch a platformer game, and there are so many platforms that you have to jump, and you have to, for example, reach level 2. If you at least present a simple progress bar telling you how far you got, this will give the player a better idea of how much more effort is needed to achieve that level. Can we go to the video, please? Humper Jumper. Alright. I like the title. What does this remind me of? Yeah, I like all of the splashy bits and the colors and the everything. But come on. I mean, it feels, this again doesn't feel very hyper casual. It feels accessible, and it would feel hyper casual in 2015 or 2012 maybe. But now, I mean, why am I jumping up? What is happening? And what goal am I trying to reach? Why am I being punished for not reacting super fast? But I really like the colors and the animations. What I would do as a developer is I would check out more games that have my style of artwork, and I would try and see which mechanics are the best fit for that style, except for the ones that have been tried by a million other developers.
Got it. Your score, guys?
I'm sorry if I'm mean. Trying to be honest. But I really like the colors.
Okay. All right.
One important thing about the colors, which I often see, is that it's best to separate the actual gameplay elements from the non-gameplay elements, from the backgrounds and everything else. So you need your player to have focus on the key gameplay parts rather than everything which surrounds the gameplay.
We've got 6 doodle jumps out of 10 and 5 out of 10.
I'd give it more doodle jumps out of 10, but if we're rating on doodle jumps.
All right, let's go to our next game over here.
Number combiner. Number games are usually challenging because you see prototypes where you have to add things, and it's like level 1 is 3 plus 7. What's 3 plus 7? Oh, it's 10. Okay. And here we're seeing it's not actually a numbers game; it's a merging game. It looks accessible, looks very approachable, but I don't quite understand what I'm doing here. Do I swipe the numbers around, or is it like a slingshot mechanic? I understand that I have to merge the numbers, but I don't understand how I merge the numbers, so I'm threatened by that. So even though it looks accessible, I would think twice before downloading this game because I just don't understand what it is. And as a developer, I would probably think, what is the most obvious merging thing that I can communicate? It doesn't necessarily have to be numbers. It looks pretty cool, but I don't. It's not often in real life that I have to merge 1 and 1 to create 2, or 5 and 5 to create 6. Especially when I'm sort of swiping through Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and I see an ad for this game, and I expect 2 plus 2 to become 4, and 4 plus 4 to become 8, etc. So yeah, I would choose to try and choose a different visual metaphor, just a quick, super quick reskin, and also, if I were producing videos for a publisher, I'd show a game where I'm just sort of merging the numbers by taking my finger and swiping one number over the other, and I'd do another video where I have to do a slingshot mechanic, etc. So yeah, I'm seeing scores for Number Combiner. I think this game can definitely be improved. They've just done too much. I see 2 or 3 games, not just one.
We've got 3, 4, 5 out of 10, and 2 plus 2 out of 10. Whatever it means. 2 plus 2. All right, let's go next.
2 plus 2. It's because it's a merging game, so
yeah.
3 out of 10.
Is it 4
or is it a 4?
out of 10 or 3 out of 10?
Yeah.
This is exactly what you mentioned, right? Okay, this is another prototype over here.
All right, this already looks cool because it looks weird, and I like weird. All right, so I tap somewhere. It'd be cool to show where I'm tapping just by showing the finger, and it'd be even better to show where my finishing point is, because I understand that the mechanic, it's sort of physics based, and I think physics based games are a lot of fun. Physics are an interesting environment to create content in. I can't say the interface helps a lot because I don't quite understand what I need to do. It would be clear if I just saw a progress bar of how many more balls I need to get into the green liquid.
I think everything is in
Probably
description.
Probably shouldn't be every single one. I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, Andrei, I think the author wrote that you have to make local small explosions with your finger. So it's in description, but I get you that everything has to.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about hypercasual. It should require 0 description. It should appear in your hand magically, and the first tap you make, you get positive feedback loop. You instantly enjoy it. It's all about instant bite-sized joy. It's not some. I mean, if you want to think a lot about a game, there are great Sudoku titles out there, etc. I mean, Mensa quizzes, things like that. Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But in a hyper-casual game, you should be able to instantly enjoy it with 0 explanation. I understand the mechanic. I'm just trying to suggest some ways of communicating that mechanic in an even clearer fashion, and to kind of improve on the goal setting. I don't quite get the shapes of the levels. Maybe they could, think of real life scenarios where you would perform this kind of action to reach that kind of goal. But I've not seen. I've seen similar mechanics, but I've not seen a specific mechanic like this before. That's the most important part, and it's enjoyable. It doesn't look punitive. It looks like something I could give a go, and at least if I fail, I won't be disappointed, because even the most basic action gives me some sort of pretty cool feedback.
Great.
So,
All right, 6 out of 10,
opinions?
5,
6.
6.
I'd give. I mean, I think it's more promising than a 6. I'd give it a 7, but it definitely needs more polish.
Got it. All right, another one.
Blake Ops Paintballers. A chick game. Why was he not just killed? How does the shield come up? Alright, so there's a bit of overkill on the interface, and it's really static. Can we fast forward a bit more? Does anything else happen? So this one is really difficult to comment on, because it's at an really early prototype stage. And if I were talking to this developer, I would ask them, what were they intending to make the game about? What were they trying to simplify? Because it looks like they were looking at a couple of references and trying to recreate those references in a hyper-casual space. And when you do that, you usually need to, boil it down to just one basic, but at the same time most enjoyable interaction. So again, this is promising. Lots of work. Will probably not reach a female audience unless reworked quite well. So I mean, this could be, doesn't have to be paintball. Could be like a super soaker fight, a water fight. But yeah, I think it's interesting for a prototype, and it would be interesting to find a scenario where that could be marketable.
Yeah.
Because right now the biggest sort of point of growth for this game is motion dynamics. It's all very static right now.
No.
So I try and rethink either the movement of the key character or the camera, something to make the game more interesting to watch. But I agree on the 6 and 6.5. It depends on how you look at it, and depends on how the cumulative experience of that specific developer and their specific publisher, how it gels, and if they can put together a male-oriented hyper-casual game, or they can remake it to have wider appeal.
Sounds good. So it's 6 out of 10, 6.5. Andrei, I think we've got time for maybe 2 more prototypes. What do you think about that? Because we've got
All right,
a
cool.
huge list, but let's
All right.
wrap it up a
Spinning
little bit.
sneakers.
Spinning sneakers.
We have flappy sneakers. Flappy sneakers with lovely colors and probably non-approved usage of the Nike logo. So again, it'll be interesting to hear what the developer has to say, and why the world needs yet another flappy clone. I like the colors. I like their art style. it's somewhat original, and I'm sure they can fit that to a much more appealing game mechanic. Even if they want the idea of a flying sneaker, and the flying sneaker could be launched at something. It could be jumping on clouds, whatever. So something more interesting than Flappy Bird mechanic. But they've done some work, and I'm sure with a couple of days more work, they can come up with an even cooler idea, especially after they have a proper chat with a publisher rather than just a 30-second review.
Sounds good. What do you guys think? 6. Guess 6.5.
As is, I'd give it a 4, and the 4 would go to the art style.
Okay.
Because the game could be way more original.
And the last
Okay.
one for the tape.
Naughty title.
Yeah, it's a board game.
Is it backgammon? No, it's not backgammon. It's a hockey. Hockey gammon. Back hockey. So what do I do? Which one am I? It looks fun, but it's not clear. I've not seen a mechanic quite like this before. I don't understand whether I'm playing a bot. Is it turn-based? Or is it all very real-time actiony? Why am I doing this? So yeah, now I have to sort of get my, what do you call them, checkers, I guess, to the other side of the board. It's, the game gets brownie points for originality. I don't quite, pucks, that's the word I was looking for. But I don't, I think they have to consider how to make the gameplay clearer, and how to make it even more accessible. How do they present the video? What do they do about the colors, about the level design? Is it just going to be one board, or is it going to be like a maze that complicates things? How do you communicate if it's just one player going crazy, or if it's a player and their opponent taking turns, regardless of whether that opponent is human or computer? Yeah, but I think I definitely have a chat with these guys. I'm not quite sure about the investment amount they need here, but this is a flexible and interesting prototype, and we could discuss the 10 possible games that they can make, 10 possible hyper-casual games that they can make out of this prototype that feels both like an interesting take on hockey mechanic and air hockey mechanic, and backgammon. Really weird mix. I like weird mixes. How much more time do we have?
I think we're out of time already, so
shame.
I think that
I can go on forever.
Yeah, we can go forever, and the list goes on and on. But I guess this is time to choose kind of the winner, your number one in your rating.
I can't do this. I'm a publisher.
I mean, maybe.
No, I mean, I don't have. What I can suggest is like for the listeners to think about 3 sort of categories. First one of which would be best original gameplay. Second one would be best presentation / art style. And the third one should be a best hybrid. And the reason for these nominations is that when you're looking for the best original game, it's really hard to come up with an original game. Then it's really hard to come up with the best possible presentation. And by presentation, I don't just mean pretty art, but it's really elaborate explanation of why you're here and what you're doing and what's going to happen for the next 2 or 3 minutes. And can you hear me, guys?
What is that, Andrei?
Andrei? Yeah. All right. So, and the third one is the best hybrid mechanic. When you mix one with the other, one popular mechanic with another popular mechanic, you might come up with an original idea. But that kind of feels like something approachable and recognizable, but something more or less fresh. So what do you guys think? Which game do you think is the most original out of all of the ones that we saw today?
Please feel free to write in the chat, guys. What's your take on that? What's the most original game? Barista.
Barista, most original. I mean, it's a crafting game. It could have been a sandwich game. It could have been a fruit salad game. It could have been a take apart your iPhone game. So I wouldn't say the Barista is the most original. It's if I were talking about originality, gosh, it's a hard one. But the one that I enjoyed was the what do you call it? The one where you have to move the balls around the screen by creating impulses, the physics-based game.
Yeah.
Because you can make a number of games from that game. The gameplay, it might not be ultra original, but sometimes you don't need ultra original. You need to be original enough to be clear and to be interesting. I forget the name of that game, but
it's called Blow Up Tap. Yeah.
Blow Up Tap. All right, there you are. So Blow Up Tap. Even though they're not, I don't think they've brought the game to its maximum possible potential. But there could be a number of things they could do with that game. But I think it's original enough for this session. And presentation. Presentation is how attractive the game looks overall. Not just the artwork, but the clarity of the gameplay and the fluidity of the progression. What do you guys think?
The clarity and the fluidity.
Opinions?
Nice. Please write in the chat the clarity of the game. What's your number one here?
Presentation. The presentation of the game. What game was presented in the best possible way? Something that looks so good that you instantly want to play it.
Yeah, Alex says that Barista game looked the best.
Yeah, probably agree because the kind of artwork they have is they definitely enjoy what they're doing, because when you see something being presented that well, it definitely means that they understand what they're doing and they're actually enjoying what they're doing a lot. Then aside from the robot logo strange thingy, as soon as you get into the video, you understand where it's going to take you, that you're preparing a coffee. You don't quite know which kind of coffee you're preparing, so it could be end up being a boring filter coffee, but it turns out being a really cool espresso art type of thing. It's multi-stage, it's all very clear, and it's fluid enough to keep your attention, and at the same time it's fast enough to keep you engaged. So yeah, I think it's probably the best presented game of the session. And hybrids, what do you think about hybrids?
What do you mean hybrids, Andrei?
By hybrids, I mean when you take one game mechanic and you merge it with another game mechanic, and it's like, hey, let's merge poker with Hearthstone. Oh no, that's a bad example. Let's merge poker with, I don't know, football, and see what that comes out to be like. So when you take two mechanics that are popular throughout the world, but haven't been mixed before for any reason. Maybe they haven't been mixed for a good reason because they don't mix. But mixing popular game ideas and mechanics is a pretty good way to come up with new ideas. Any thoughts on whether there was a good hybrid within this session?
Guys, yeah, feel free to write it in the chat. And blow up tab.
Blow up tap. Anything else? I think blow up tap is more about originality. The one that I think came close to being an interesting hybrid is Puckett, but I don't think there was an interesting hybrid within this session. Puckett does come quite close, but it's too much of a technical demo rather than an actual presentation of the game. But it definitely has the potential to be one.
And we see someone is asking to review the game, but I'm asking Vamsi, can you please reach out to Andrei personally? You will find his contacts in this presentation. I guess this is the time for us to wrap this up. So, Andrei, tremendous thanks. Big thanks for you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll be happy to come again and be both mean and not mean to games and developers, and but honestly, I think this is a great way of getting to meet new teams and to get these teams to have instant feedback, not just from the publisher, but from other viewers, because it will definitely give them food for thought, and hopefully you'll have my contacts, and if you don't, I think can we send out emails with my contact details after the session ends?
We definitely can.
All right. Okay. Cool.
To everyone
Awesome.
who has registered, we can send contacts with Andrei's.
Just one final question. Since we're doing this interactive scoring thingy kind of thing, was this session any good? How would you rate this from 0 to 10? Do you think it's worth repeating?
Yeah, do you think it's worth repeating, guys? Because we're doing that for you, so I already see that. Thank you for your review. Thank you, that was very helpful. Thank you. But yeah, from 0 to 9, 10 out of 10. Oh, Matthias, thanks a lot for that. Jonathas, 10. Hey, thanks a lot. Again, sorry, Axel, 11.
Awesome.
Hey guys, and again, sorry for the technical issues today.
Yeah, my apologies too.
We will definitely work on that in future, but we will create more sessions like that. Nikolai is saying 9 out of 10. We need more sessions like that. So Andrei, you've done a great job. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
That was amazing.
Again, thanks very much for having me. I hope we get to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's
all right. All right. Cool. Thank you all very much for joining us wherever you are, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Andrei.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
Thanks very much. Bye. Bye, all.